what's going on? It's the Petrol List.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Dalton from the Petrol List, and I got a new microphone. Now, guess what I just did? I recorded an entire 14-minute video, and because I tend to talk with my hands, I had the microphone way out here, and I was going back and forth. And so this time around, I'm gonna pin it to my shirt, or clip it, or whatever, so I can talk in my natural state. Alright, so this is the Monday video. Again, Monday is the video that's guaranteed from me. The rest of them are if I'm inspired or it's time sensitive and I just want to put something out there. So please like and subscribe if you want to hear from me guaranteed on Monday, or if you want to hear the other crap I'm talking about throughout the week. Let's get into it. Lamborghini has a replacement for the Aventador, and it's called the Revuelto. I'm not sure. I'll put the text underneath what I'm saying, but let's talk specs. It's going to be a plug-in hybrid. It's going to be $608,000, and that's just for the base model. So we're talking roll-up windows, we're talking cloth seats, we're talking about black rubberized bumper. I'm just kidding, but that is still expensive, and especially they had to call it the fact that that's the base model, or starts at $608,000. I found that a little bit interesting. Okay, 814 horsepower coming from a 6.5 liter naturally aspirated V12 that redlines at 9,500 RPM. That is nuts. It's going to sound terrifying. It's going to be terrifying to drive, but wait, there's more. It's going to have 3 electric motors, 2 in the front, 1 in the rear, and that spells 1,001 horsepower. 0 to 60 in an estimated 2.3 seconds, and it's going to have a cool EV range of like 5 miles. That's enough to kind of sneak out of your neighborhood or drive out of your gated community without waking up and pissing off all the neighbors. And the other thing that I think is really cool is I love watching Le Mans cars leave the pits on EV mode and then firing up that monstrous icy engine, whatever it is.
Good to disconnect.
Go ahead and stop it. It just sounds amazing, and I think it's cool that a regular car is going to be doing this. I know it's happened before, but anyway. It is going to be a fat pig. 4,450 pounds. That is super, super heavy. Now, it's like everything about this car is over the top. Here's what I mean. You can get 0 to 60 in like 2.5 seconds from a 2014 Ariel Atom with 320 horsepower. But here's the difference. I think that thing weighs like 1,500 or 1,200 pounds. And it is the Ariel Atom 3.5R, and that thing started at $83,000. Now, which one would I take to the track? Ariel Atom all day long. Which one is the flex car? You know, the flex. That obviously is the Lamborghini. The Ariel Atom looks a little bit weird, admittedly. It's kind of a skeleton of a F1 car with weird proportions, but weird, and it would rip at the track. Now, what do I think about this Lamborghini machine? I think it's over the top. I think it's going to be loud. I think if you floor it, it's going to try to kill you or put you in jail. And I think it looks like a spaceship. good-looking spaceship, but a spaceship nonetheless. And I think it is absolutely appropriate. I love it. I love the idea that this is not some special one-off from Lamborghini. I love that this is the replacement for the Aventador. And as I was reading through the specs, and I want to tell you why I think it's perfect. It's because this is not a hypercar. This is a supercar. This is what supercars are now. I did a video, I think last week or within the last couple of weeks, where I was like, oh, where did the supercars go? And how come we can't define a supercar anymore? And oh, I figured it out. A supercar is always relative to all the other cars on the road when that car came out. Case in point, the Lamborghini Countach. It looked insane when it came out. It was over the top, and I think it made like 400 horsepower, maybe somewhere between 400 and 500 horsepower. Right now, the Nissan Z Nismo makes 420 horsepower. There are V6s out there that make 300, 350 horsepower. Corolla, the GR Corolla, is like 320 or 330 horsepower. So you have to judge the supercar relative to what's out at the moment. So when the Lamborghini Countach came out and it was around 400 horsepower, sports cars were making like 100, 150 horsepower. So relatively speaking, the Countach was insane. It was trying to kill you, and that is exactly what the Revuelto is meant to do. So it's all relative, and that is a supercar. I submit to you that there are no hypercars. There are only supercars. And the cars that would have been supercars back in the day, say the Lotus Emira at 400 horsepower, mid-engine, beautiful, exotic, that is now an exotic sports car. It's not a supercar, because you can't have the same horsepower as a Nissan Z and still be a supercar. It's a sports car with a different configuration, and the Revuelto is what a supercar is now. Okay, I think I drove that point home. Sorry, my wife is scrubbing dishes. I hope you're not picking that up. Let me test. And we're back. Perfect segue, because I was done with that one. It's time to move on to something else. I wanted to revisit a little bit of stuff I was talking about in previous videos. One is the EV fire in Luton, the Luton airport. They said, the authorities or press or whatever have said that they found the source of the fire and they believe it to be a diesel vehicle. I've been listening to some, other independent contributors and thinkers and, just content makers around the subject, and they all are kind of saying the same thing. If you look at where the fire was coming from, it was coming from the bottom side of the vehicle in front of the rear wheels, and the fire was kind of like shooting out to the side. Now, if you've ever seen EV fires, that is kind of exactly what they look like. And then the other thing is, if you have seen a diesel fire, there's typically tons and tons of black smoke. And that fire, at least the video that I saw, was relatively clean burning if you're looking at it, relative to what an actual diesel fire looks like. So it makes me wonder, are they telling half-truth? Are they not telling the truth? Am I just wrong? Maybe it was a diesel fire and I shouldn't think about it anymore. But also, it's the inconsistency in the image. I put a post out there saying, does this look like an Evoque or does it look like a Range Rover? If you look at the taillights, it looks a little bit more like a Range Rover. Again, I could be wrong, but it's just something to think about. It's very interesting that the story doesn't feel extremely straightforward. Now, there's another story that I was covering, and that was the Hamilton-Russell crash in Qatar. And I watched Formula One's their analysis of it, and they never once mentioned what Mercedes' strategy may have been. So like I said, Mercedes' strategy was probably to get Hamilton on the soft tires, give him the edge in turn one, and have Russell have time to warm up his tires, and then it'd be kind of an arms race after that. But there was no mention of a possible strategy that Mercedes was using that Russell could have possibly violated. Strange. They put all of the mistakes on on Hamilton's side, and again, Hamilton did cause the crash. He did, but you have to look at the lead up to that to get the holistic story. So the whole reason I say that is not just for my content, but other independent contributors' content. If you want the full story these days, go looking around, watch the smaller YouTubers, or read the smaller writers' articles, because we live in an era which is really cool that a lot of different people have voices, and you can hear stuff from different perspectives, different thinkers, and then you can make your own decisions versus listening to something one way. Because I kind of feel like what I heard from that analysis was a bit simple. It was a bit simple. And if you're looking for ratings, you want to get rid of the old guy and put in the new guy, which is exactly what they did with Tom Brady here in the States. Arguably the best quarterback ever. Not my favorite quarterback. I'm a John Elway fan. But if you look at the stats, yeah, Tom Brady, he did it all and he did the most. And so you got to give credit where credit's due. All right, let's do just a tiny bit more Formula One news. I keep hearing rumblings of Checo being out after the Mexican GP, or at least Red Bull making the announcement that Checo's going to be out after the Mexican GP. I don't know. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see on that. And the other thing is, Lawrence Stroll, father of Lance Stroll, Aston Martin, Cognizant, all that. Apparently he sold Aston Martin Racing, and so that means Lance Stroll's seat is probably going to be up for grabs, and I don't know if Lance Stroll is going to have a job. He'll be fine. He's got money. But, I mean, if you're a racing driver, you want to remain a racing driver, no matter, what kind of funding you have. And so that's going to be interesting. Ricardo, maybe he moves from AlphaTauri back up into Red Bull in the second driver's seat. Who knows? There's a lot going on. But again, if you like Formula One content and, listen to a random guy with a pen, subscribe and you'll hear my thoughts. I try to have authentic and non-biased perspective in my little F1 talks, my little F1 rants. So subscribe and you'll definitely be hearing more of that. And with that, this video is done. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. I'm out. Hope you liked the microphone. It was a cheap one, but maybe it's better than what I was doing before. All right. Talk to you later.